All right, guys, so we're coming to the end of our first step of this journey, and I hope that, again, you've been impacted and challenged and stretched in our leadership training already. The sad reality is that most of the leaders in the Church of Jesus Christ today, at least in America, they have very little or no experience reaching the world with the gospel, which is the primary priority of Christ, and should be the primary priority of His church and the leaders of His church. And so, for those of you who this was a struggle, forgive us for putting you through it. But it is central to us that the leaders of our church have a heart for the lost and have the capacity and the ability to reach them and to build bridges to them and share their testimony with them. Today, I wanted to finish this up by talking about, again, the rhythms of those God talk micro moments that Pastor Josh was speaking on, because I know that any of you at this point, you've been given some tools and you've had time to intentionally think about how to reach people. So you can go into a situation, and at least in a moment, you can share your testimony. You can build a bridge with someone. You know who the people in your environments are that are open to the gospel. You've studied those things. That's great. That's good. But this should be, as Pastor Josh said, a natural rhythm of your life. And so I want to leave you with an acronym that hopefully will help you remember this. And also, I want to leave you with a couple steps on how you can make sure you're staying accountable to this. So, first of all, the acronym is very, very simple. Pastor Josh even used this phrasing, and it wasn't intentional. It was actually, I think, just a Holy Spirit moment. He said that, doing this is really just being who you are. And so the acronym that we're leaving you with is to be a Christian, and that's B and E. And so write down somewhere that for you to remember it. I would encourage you to constantly be praying that God would allow you to be a Christian. The B standing for bless. And so every single week, as a leader and a representative of Jesus, as an ambassador for the gospel, you should be blessing people. Again, blessing people in your workplace, blessing people in your neighborhoods, blessing people in your family who don't know Jesus, blessing people in those hobby environments that you are a part of who don't know Christ. Whatever environments you've identified as places where you can share the gospel, I would challenge you to intentionally bless them. Now, sometimes blessings are physically manifested. You get a snack for somebody, or pick up some lunch for somebody. You take a piece of food to a neighbor's house. You drive them somewhere when they need it. You take care of yard work. You make that connection with a family member and help them with something. It can be that, but it also can be as simple as, you check in on them when they're not doing well. You say a prayer over their life, and they connect what God does with your willingness to pray for them. It doesn't have to necessarily cost anything other than your time and your intentionality. And so there should be blessing stories that's a part of your story every week. And I'll tell you the truth, guys, we're asking you to do some things, but this is the greatest blessing of the Christian life. For most of us, we go to work and we make money, and we go through life and we raise kids, and those things are good, but we can get lost in that routine. The real blessing comes in when someone says, well, tell me about your week. It's well, this night I was able to go and meet with my neighbor and, invite them over, and we talked about this. And on Wednesday, at my work, I saw this person there, and I went to them, was able to pray for them, or I took somebody out to lunch. It's those moments that will make your life so rich and so full. So be a blessing to people. So B, first B is blessing, and then the E in the BE is eat. And what we mean by that is make a larger investment in people. So in the early church, one of the descriptions given in Acts about the early church is that they met in the temple courts, and then they broke bread from house to house. And so there was this culture of hospitality and people investing in people and letting them into their life. And so with the eat aspect of it, we're saying, hey, who are you bringing into your life in a more intentional and a more committed way? Those micro moments, those are the blessing moments. And those other ones are more testimony style moments. Those other ones are you're being even more intentional and more direct with a particular person, bringing them into your story so you can hear their story and connect their story to Jesus' story. And so if we would live a life that's just characterized by blessing others, and as we have opportunity, and by intentionally having those eating type moments, whether there's food or not doesn't matter, but we're making investment moments in people to share the gospel with them. It totally changes the priority and the trajectory of your life and the lives in whom you're investing. And so my prayer for you as you consider continuing this leadership training, as you consider the possibility of being someone who will cut new ground in Greenville by doing these new missional small group opportunities, perhaps that will become micro churches one day, and we'll be talking about that. Don't get too hung up on that yet. As you consider the possibility that there may be through this opportunities for God to call you into vocational ministry, it starts with having a heart for and having the priority of reaching people and sharing Jesus with them. If we can't do that and do that with passion and with joy, well, how in the world can we expect God to give us anything greater? And so I know you can do that, and that's why we're investing in you. That's why we are excited that you're doing this, and we want you to move forward step by step because we really believe it. This is not a tagline, even though it sounds good and it's inspirational. We really believe that Jesus can use you to change people's world. And so thanks for going through the first step. I can't wait to see what you're going to learn and how you're going to be stretched as we go into step number 2.